I'm here to talk about adversity. Life is messy. Look at this. Do you see anything in here, any issues that you're dealing with? My wife and I are dealing with a dozen of them right now. My father-in-law, who I adore, has cancer. There's a bully at our kids' school. There's an uncertain economy right now. I've got an injury. It's just the normal caseload for a couple of middle-agers. Let's look at stats. Considering these odds, don't you find it amazing that we're shocked and surprised when it happens to us? It's inevitable. It's coming our way. The only choice we have is how to handle it. I believe that the amount of emotional resilience we have in us determines the meaning that we give to those events, as well as how we respond. I work in the career business. Assume on Monday you're going to lose your job. You're going to respond probably one of 5 ways. Shame, embarrassment, loss of confidence, anxiety, financial stress. Over the course of time, you're going to get to acceptance. And on the other side of acceptance, there's going to be freedom, opportunity, possibility, renewal. Some of you will get there in a day. Some of you will get there in a week. And some of you won't get there within a year. This talk is about shortening that cycle between a negative event and the opportunity, and to demystify all the stuff that we add to the event that makes it loom a lot larger than it is. Let me take you back to my low point. Remember the crisis? October 2008. This is where my heart rate ended up matching almost perfectly the New York Stock Exchange. It was a perfect storm. In September, clients were hiring. In October, they were firing. By December, I thought the world was going to end. It was my reality. I invented it. But that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought that line was going to go down all the way to 0. I was really angry at first. This was my 3rd recession with the same title, with the same company. How dumb can I be? Enough already. But 6 weeks into it, I had no answers, and I got to be really, really fearful. I didn't know what to tell our team. CEO's supposed to have the answers. By December, I was actually depressed. My wife wasn't sure who she was married to. On any given night, it was either the angry guy, the depressed guy, or the frightened guy. We were in trouble. I could not control my emotions. I couldn't control the economy. I needed to find safe harbor somewhere, anywhere. I decided that was going to be my health. So I wrote it down. By the end of 2009, a year from that moment, I would be the healthiest I ever was. A noble objective at age 44. And then I started looking for a nasty, big project. Something that would take my mind away from what was happening and would give me a chance to move it to what was possible. So I went on Google. I typed a few words: endurance, toughest, meanest, stupidest, longest. First hit was Everest. Honey, I want to climb Everest. I've always wanted to climb Everest. Let me go climb Everest. No, people die. I'm worth more dead than alive. Then this one was intriguing. I want to go run 5 marathons. Let's make it 6 in 5 days. Please let me go. Steph, you've never run a marathon. Your credentials run like a golden retriever. You like to run after shiny objects like a tennis ball. Who are you kidding? But, it's your thing. Just go do what you want. Just like that, I signed up and entered a 250-kilometer foot race in the middle of nowhere in the Gobi Desert. Where was the Gobi Desert? China. I thought, if I can run this desert, I can handle the recession. It's easy. The training thesis was pretty simple. This is no marathon. There's no formula yet for those kinds of extreme endurance sports. But somebody said it's half physical, half mental. The physical I understood. Try to run half of it in training, and hopefully you can rely on your mind for the other half. So I decided that I should run only when I didn't want to, because those would replicate the kind of conditions I'd seen in the desert. At midnight, when I wanted to go to bed and was tired, I'd put my shoes on. If there was a blizzard outside, trigger, go running. If I felt really full after a big meal, I went immediately running. I'm not kidding. If I'd had a bit too much to drink, you'd have no idea where I found myself at for sunrise. It worked. 4 months into it, I got a chance to reacquaint myself with an old friend. A pair of jeans. Waist size 32. I put those babies on. And on Monday, Leslie said, you got to go to work. And I said, no, I don't think so. Look at that. Oh my God. And I could actually see a third of a six-pack in there. It was amazing. I had lost 25 pounds. That was the high point. The low point was a week later. I'm a terrible runner. I got injured really, really badly. And the doc said, well, you can't run anymore. You can't go to the desert. But if you insist, maybe you go to the pool and try to run in the pool, but don't touch the bottom. So the next day I took a floaty and left for the pool. And I joined my new running group. The ladies were great because I was the hot new guy in the pool. It was now time to leave for the Gobi. I was more swimmer than runner, but you'll find out it's pretty helpful in the Gobi. It was barren, stark, sterile, pretty frightening. I'd done basically no running in 2 months. At the start line, there's, runners from 28 countries, including 13 Canadians. Quite amazing. And I'm nervous. There are no spectators. There's no band playing. There's just one woman saying, 3, 2, 1, go. And we're off. Now the race has started. We're 15 minutes into it, and we're now running along a river with loose stones, the size of a baseball. And every foot plant is dangerous because you could roll your ankle, and if you roll your ankle, you're done. Luckily, you're close to the start, so they can pick you up. I'm getting pissed off. I've already got a blister. We're 25 minutes into this race. And the path takes us to a river. And I just stop and I look back. I'm trying to make eye contact with the organizer. I say, you're kidding me. What are we doing here? Where's the sand? I finally decide to put some garbage bags on my legs, and I'm crossing the river. Do not cross the river wearing garbage bags. Halfway through it, boom, I'm down. I'm a middle-aged man in the middle of the desert in a river up to here, and I'm furious. I decide I'm going to let that river have it. I'm going to let those stones have it. I'm going to let those organizers have it. And I just belt out the loudest word that I know starts with an F and ends with a K. The whole Gobi trembled at that moment. As I did that and felt a little better, I made eye contact with a bunch of other runners. They were upset as well. And it was almost as if I saw my reflection. I thought, oh my God, this is what it's about. I couldn't handle the recession. Now I can't handle the river. I probably won't be able to handle the sun. There's 1,001 obstacles in this race I'm going to have to get over. What am I going to do? And I just snapped out of it. I made an agreement while I was in the water that any single obstacle that I would come across, I would just dismiss, have fun, laugh at, and make a friend out of it. Sounds odd, I know. I got up and I crossed that river 9 more times, each time collecting a blister, and somehow powered up to the finish line, passing everyone in front of me. And as you runners know, when you get to that finish line, it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't matter how long your race is. It was my first marathon. It was exciting. But finishing in 9th place overall was nothing short of a miracle. Of course, there was little time for celebration because the next morning, marathon number 2 would start, and my blisters and I needed to get ready. Marathon number 2 was a little bit more complicated. It was really, really hot. In this race, you wear a backpack with about 25 pounds of gear in it. You're unaided. Your food's in it, your survival gear. Think about running with a 2 or 3-year-old on your back. Backpack moves. That's what it does. On the 3rd day, a cheat moved the flag. Along with 15 other people, we got diverted for a couple of miles. Not great when you're out there for 25 miles prior. And it was interesting to read that other races of lesser importance, like the Tour de France, have cheats as well. Oh, come on. It was easy. It was like, marathon number 4, we went up a bunch of stairs, running up to what's called Heaven's Gate for an incredible view of the valley. I lost 5 toenails on my way up. At night, I would put my toenails under my pillow, hoping the nail fairy would come. There's no coverage, no nail fairy coverage in the Gobi, unfortunately. But what was amazing is it didn't matter. A blister, a nail, a rock, a river. I forgot that I wasn't a runner for 4 days. Camp number 5, we're at 10,000 feet of altitude, a third the amount of oxygen that we have here. Think breathing through one nostril, close your mouth. The oxygen just doesn't get to your lungs. It's cold. We're doing the death march tomorrow, 2 marathons. Someone comes over and says, I've got great news for you. You're first amongst all Canadians. You're first in the 40 to 50 category. That's the old people. What should have been great news, I hear as pressure. At the start line, the inner critic comes out. Don't mess up. Don't mess up. Don't mess up. You know you can't run. This goes on for 10 hours. It's down to 2 of us after 10 hours. I'm having a terrible day. I just don't have it. My feet are heavy. I'm not happy. That beautiful mountain you just saw, I never saw. I was just focused on the outcome. Try not to lose. We're now walking. We're completely exhausted. And a fellow called Kevin just blows by us. It takes me 3 minutes. I have a panic attack. I don't know if I have enough in me. Should I go? Can I go? Do I have it in me? I finally go after him as if he'd stolen something from me. It works. You can run fast that way. I never catch him. He knows I'm coming. He's looking. I never bridge the gap. He crosses the finish line. He waits for me. We hug. And with a bit of distance, I was able to look at that moment, and I realized what a gift it was. Number 1, I had run the fastest 10 miles of my life after having run 40 before. Sometimes we need someone else to show us what we can do. Second, I was rather complacent. Clearly I could run, but I had made a decision that I couldn't. And it forced me to look at all the areas of my life where I was in fact walking as opposed to running. The next day was the finish, a short 10K to the village. It was beautiful. We were all rewarded with a wonderful $2 medal made in China, each with its own significance. Now you might ask, what did I learn in the Gobi? Well, I learned a lot. However, I didn't learn anything I didn't know. It was interesting. I needed an experience in the desert to fuse the concepts I knew so I could actually learn them. It's like being told, eat moderately your fats, sugar, and salt. You don't get it until you fail a heart test. In the Gobi, I completely changed my relationship to adversity. Like they say in the army, medals don't get awarded during peacetime. The economy is tough right now, again. But now I know I can be counted on, and I know I can thrive. Before, my relationship to adversity was something you had to survive. Completely different. I thought that with enough IQ and good EQ, emotional intelligence, I could get myself through anything. But I found out in the desert that when the going gets tough and you have to get yourself back up, what you need is grit, emotional grit, resilience. That's what I'd want to teach my children. The experts call it resiliency quotient, others adversity quotient. The difference between that third intelligence and the other two is that it is proven you can grow it. It's like a muscle. It could become your greatest weapon. 3 quick tips. First, we're blind to what we can do. Had I run a marathon before and known how tough it was, I would have never run 6 in 5 days. I would have said no. I mean, who would do that? But once I was out there, I took 600,000 running steps from the start of the Gobi to the finish line. And every time I stopped, I looked back and thought, wow, I never thought I could do that. Just like in about 2 minutes when I get hooked, I'll look back at TED and say, wow, I could have never done that. We tend to be our feelings, not our words. And it becomes very apparent when you're in the desert. What do I mean by that? Many people who signed up to run the Gobi never made it to the starting line. Life got in the way. They didn't show up. They honored their feelings, how they felt. Something got in the way and they just made it mean a lot. And when your words are confronted by your feelings, we tend to choose feelings. Now, no surprise. We have 309 known emotions as humans. 2/3 of them are negative. The negative ones fire 10 times more frequently than the positive ones. We're filled with reasons not to do things. That's how we work. But luckily, with brain science, we're very close to giving tools to everyone so we can go from the negative to the positive in a nanosecond. Third, I found that expectations can be the heaviest of burdens. For 4 days, I ran free, and then I ran not to lose. That backpack got really heavy. Fear of failure, stress. The worst thing is that I found out when I returned that I actually had expectations to other people. I put weight in their backpack. So if I was to leave you with one thought, one idea out of this talk, it would be to create your own adversity project. I know it's very counterintuitive. If you do a little bit more tomorrow than you did yesterday, you will grow your resilience, but you won't transform it. In order to grow your resilience, you need to do something that's outside of your comfort zone, something that's net new. That's where the lessons get learned. Everyone that finished the Gobi said it was the hardest thing they'd ever done in their lives. And yet, men, women, old, new, fat, skinny, they all crossed the finish line. They had a breakthrough in resiliency. Adversity is coming our way. You saw the numbers. We can grow it, we can prepare ourselves, so we can summon the lessons, and when it hits, we're ready. We have access to changing our mindset. Adversity is nothing more than an opportunity. We either get marked by it, or we use it to leave a mark. If I can run the Gobi and I'm not a runner, there's no saying what you can do. And on this, I ask you, what's your Gobi? Thank you. Thank you.